Let me begin this by saying I think it's wise to put what we've talked about in games people play into a more visual format to make it easier to keep all of the many aspects clearer, because there will be quite a number of them. So first off, let's just talk about our basic concept, a zero-sum game, one in which whatever is at risk is fixed, and the winners will walk away with more only at the expense of the other party at play, who will end up being a loser. So if we draw this out here rather simplistically, moving to the left, a red line, because it's bad, this is either one person wins, the other loses, or the other person loses and the first person wins. In every case, this is basically considered to be a non-cooperative game. And while most of the media talks about zero-sum games in this terms with respect to businesses and consumers or politicians competing for one particular government job or political office, most often the other aspect of the zero-sum game is left out, and it's something that we all participate in every day, and that's actually a break-even situation. And we can consider that as like a normal business transaction, one in which two parties exchange something of value to each of them, and both feel they have benefited from this exchange. So in essence, it's a break-even or win-win situation. What we consider this type of situation to be is cooperative games. So these are our two different aspects of a zero-sum game, but of course the discussion in the media, and with the exception of obscure academic discussions on game theory, it leaves out two other possibilities which come into play very often, which are traditionally overlooked by more common lay media or approaches. One of them is the negative sum game, and the other would be clearly a positive sum game. Now, the characteristics of the negative sum game is that kind of like gambling at a casino, all the money that's put on the table does not come back to the players, whoever wins, because the house takes a cut. So there is less distributed than was originally put on the table. So something of value is actually disappearing to something or someplace else. Things are taken away from the game. The positive sum game is just the opposite of that. Additional value is added, and there is more to be gained by all the parties participating than what they originally put into play. One can think of this in terms of going out to a nice dinner in a restaurant and having a marvelous service as opposed to having very bad service. One can think of this in terms of marriage or parenting, where there is growth and more coming out of what's invested. And this is clearly, like in terms of marriage and parenting, a very beneficial condition to achieve. Well, this is our basic layout. There is more to add to this, but time is up in this first pass through. So we hope that you have found the general discussion of non-cooperative versus cooperative games and the possibility of being positive sum and negative sum games being played simultaneously would be beneficial, and that'll lead us into our next second discussion where we'll expand on this.